Tomorrow, Indiana Supreme Court will hear arguments on Indiana's near-total abortion ban. Welcome to a Wednesday night here at 10 o'clock. Great to be with you on what is a very soggy evening so far. We're going to get with Angela's forecast in a moment. And we're also going to be talking about Olympics because, after all, Felicia, we're only 554 days away from the Paris Olympics in 2024. But tonight we want to know, if you could be the best in the world at any Olympic sport, which sport would you choose? We're going to talk about some of the new sports or pseudo-new sports that they're doing in Paris. We're going to get into that tonight at 11 o'clock. So put those in the comments section.
He does that to get a rise out of me because we love to count down at the station. I'm like, let's just live today, folks.
No,
let's
we're
live
always
in the
counting
moment.
down to something,
They're
right?
always counting down
we're
to
counting
stuff.
down to, what, Valentine's Day,
that's
the
close.
weekend.
That's even closer.
Okay, so what is your Olympic sport if you would do, if you're going to be in Olympics, what's your sport or what sport do you think needs to be added? Just get in the comments.
Any of that and all would be great. In front of the show, Rachel Krause will be along momentarily. We'll get her opinions on all of these topics tonight, but let's start with Angela, find out about the rain.
Did you move your car yet?
I did. Okay, so
Did you move your car yet? We were looking for holes in the radar to move the car.
Yeah, these are the challenges that we have here at the TV station.
You let me know when I should do it.
Oh, you haven't done it yet?
No.
So here's the deal. So the four of us.
Can you go right now?
Okay. So the four of us work the evening schedule, and so when we see this radar, we have to park way in the back, and it's good for us to get our steps. But on a night like this, you don't want to be walking in the rain, right?
But see that little hole? That's why I said you might want to go right this second, but don't go.
So when the Dayside folks leave. And they have all the good spots because they're here bright and early in the morning. We jump in our cars and then take those spots, move closer to the door.
Mine was a very wet walk, and this is what we've been dealing with all night long. Rain totals are already in the range of a ½ inch to an inch, and we have more on the way. I know you're upset about the rain, Felicia. I know you are. But I think actually it'll be lightening up as we head home because we still have an hour and a half before we get to head home.
It'll be a wet poodle.
We do have some pockets of heavy rain. I'll give you a couple of close-up views with live Doppler 13 radar. By far the heaviest you can see just west of our radar site, moving across parts of Hendricks County. That's sliding northeast into Indianapolis. We go east of the capital city. Yes, we have rain, and again, it is heavy at times. Nothing severe, no rumbles of thunder, so no lightning strikes at this point, but Future Track 13 shows the rain continuing for the next couple of hours, then winding down once we reach, about 1, 2 in the morning. So the morning drive will be easier than what we had this evening for the drive. It was very wet, but the clouds will stick around. There will be some dry hours the early half of tomorrow. We get into the 50s during the early half of the day, but just enough instability in that atmosphere. We may get a couple of pop-up thunderstorms developing tomorrow afternoon. So we warm up ahead of the cold front, get a few breaks in the cloud deck, might get a couple of thunderstorms developing between that 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. time frame. These are going to be fast movers, but if they do develop, they quickly could rotate, quickly go severe, and then watch what happens to the temperatures. We start to fall back into the 30s and 40s, and yes, chance for a little bit of snow. The Friday snow showers, we're not forecasting any of that to stick, but it is a sign that the temperatures are going to be dropping.
How you feeling about that, Felicia?
I'm ready, Scott. You're not going to keep playing mind games on me.
Felicia's ready. She's got her umbrella, she's got the rain gear, she's got the heavy coat, she's all ready to go. All right, we'll get back with Angela coming up in a moment. Do want to turn our attention to one of the stories that you'll see tonight on 13 News at 11. And for that, we've got Rachel Krause in studio tonight to tell us about this Indiana Supreme Court abortion court hearing that takes place tomorrow. Tell our viewers what's happening.
Yeah, so essentially this is something that's been about 6 months or so in the making. As you guys might remember, that special session that lawmakers called over the summer, they then passed a near all-out ban on abortion that allowed for some exceptions in cases of rape, incest, and to save the life of the mother. Now, immediately after that law was passed and approved, Planned Parenthood and a handful of other groups filed lawsuits claiming that these laws were not constitutional and challenging them. And back in September, after that ban was put into place, just 1 week later, we saw that the judge had essentially granted an injunction on that law, allowing abortion care to continue until the state Supreme Court began hearing those arguments. So we've been watching, we've been waiting, and now tomorrow morning, they will be hearing oral arguments. Those are expected to begin bright and early in the morning, and they're going to be looking at whether or not SEA 1, the law that essentially enacted the near all-out ban on abortion, is constitutional. And they'll be taking a look at different privacy concerns, different concerns that different groups have filed lawsuits on. So I was able to speak with an abortion provider. She says this is something she's been watching very, very carefully for the past few months. And a lot of her patients have had concerns. She's had concerns, and she's really watching closely to see what happens.
Whether to carry a pregnancy, whether to parent, whether to put themselves at that much risk. When they have that choice taken away from them, that is the underlying principle of freedom. When we no longer have the ability or the right to choose what happens to our physical bodies, that takes away inherent freedoms that we should be guaranteed.
That's Dr. Katie McHugh. She's an OBGYN care and an abortion provider in the state of Indiana. She has been continuing to provide abortions to women and to pregnant people for the past few months because that injunction has allowed abortion care to resume in the Hoosier state. She says that initially, after that ban had been put in place, demand had really plummeted, and then it had skyrocketed once word started getting out that people could once again receive abortion care. She says demand has remained pretty high and pretty consistent over the past few months, but a lot of people coming in through her doors are really confused. They have a lot of questions. They're really not sure what's allowed, what's legal, if they need to be getting in very, very quickly to make sure that they're still falling in before the state Supreme Court could weigh in. She says a lot of people have concerns. And it's not just Hoosier women that she's treating at these abortion clinics. She says she's seeing people from Kentucky, from Texas, from Louisiana, from all of the other states that are nearby where Indiana might be a close option where women are able to travel to be able to seek abortion care. She says they are continuing to provide abortions, and they will continue to do so until they're told otherwise on the state level. And now another interesting piece of this is that I actually got the chance to speak with Senator Shelley Yoder, and she is proposing legislation for this current legislative session that we are in right now, and that's Senate Bill 311, and that would effectively repeal what lawmakers passed during that special session, and that would essentially return abortion rights to what we saw before Roe versus Wade was overturned, before the Dobbs decision, and return Indiana to what was already pretty fairly restrictive abortion care laws around the state of Indiana. But whether or not that'll get a debate or a hearing at the State House, that kind of remains to be seen.
Yeah, I just think this is a lot of healthy conversation, though, on both sides, and not to go rah-rah with a kumbaya, we all get together moment. However, I do want to encourage people on both sides to kind of study and look into why people are feeling the way they're feeling, but also I want people to look into abortion, because I think that's one thing that people don't realize. There's so many different kinds of abortion, and it's not always the idea that you have in your head. So again, I don't want to sound like,
Sure.
you know, everyone hold hands and get along, but I do think this is breeding more conversation. This is fostering more conversation.
Yeah, absolutely, and kind of at a critical time, because just a couple days we're actually going to be hitting the 50-year mark from when Roe v. Wade was first passed. So, all these decades later, we are still having these discussions, and whether or not religion factors into it, whether or not healthcare factors into it, and who makes choices. It's definitely a time to be having these discussions.
Okay.
Yeah,
You'll be seeing more of Rachel's story tonight on 13 News at 11. All right, we're going to end our time together tonight by talking about the Olympics. As we mentioned, the Paris Summer Olympics are coming up in 554 days in Paris, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And we were talking about some of the new sports they're going to have over there, right?
Where'd you get this number from? Like, did
you go to the Olympic website. They're already counting down.
Oh, okay.
See, they got the games like
how'd you take
5
it?
years ago, and so they've been counting down from the moment that they were told that they're hosting the
Okay.
games.
Did you put the leap year in there?
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did.
Okay, I'll let it go.
So here's the deal. So one of the things that Paris is doing is they've got what they say are 4 new sports. They're new because Paris wanted, when they wanted the games, they said, hey, we'd like to do these 4. Tokyo took a couple of them, so we saw them in Tokyo, but in Paris's mind, they're new. So anyway, breakdancing is in fact new, and we recently did a story about breakdancing, and this was a young woman from Indianapolis who showing her skills in a previous story that our John Duran covered. Back in the 70s, I worked at a t-shirt shop in Southern California near the beach, and there were all sorts of guys breakdancing and doing this. And now it's
Well,
going to
that's
be an
pretty good.
Olympic sport in Paris, so
Okay.
they're going to
You have
actually
these
be
skills,
judged.
Yeah,
right?
that's
From
pretty
California, you
Oh
can
no, I
break
have
So can
no.
you do that?
No, I have no skills.
Oh, okay. What
No, I-
about that?
Yeah.
You could do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so breakdancing.
Oh, you could do that. Look at that,
Like,
Scott.
look at those. We
That
can
I
get you
can
those
do.
speakers, you know? I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
but the whole
It's all in the cake.
yeah, jumping on the floor and spinning around, that is not something I'm going to ever be able to do.
Good.
I don't know. We
Looks
get you
like
a
Felicia might
5, 6,
have
7,
those.
8.
Have
I
those
have
moves.
You're ready.
Her moves where she's on 2 feet. I got those.
that? You got
It's
that?
the one that she was on her head that
Right.
had me. I didn't have that.
All right, so breakdancing,
Not
it's
that
called
one.
breaking in the games. Sport climbing,
Oh,
you know, that's
breaking.
when they. Yeah.
It's a nickname.
Yeah,
Breaking.
that's the official name for it. So sport climbing, you know, that's when they go up like a rock or whatever, and they've got disciplines called bouldering, speed, and lead.
Yes.
Wow.
So
Wow.
anyway, they're going to be 2 events, men in one, women in another. And so sport climbing is one. Skateboarding, which we saw in Tokyo, is new for Paris. And then surfing is going to actually be taking place in Tahiti.
Wow.
So because of that would be a sport that I would want to
Okay,
watch
so
to
that's
go to
the one you're gonna
Tahiti.
do.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
the biggest
French
waves. I
Polynesia.
mean, I haven't seen waves in Paris, so this makes sense.
Right.
The Seine, on the Seine River, if
All
we
right.
see waves like that, there's
Can
a
you
problem.
imagine?
So
No.
you can do all those being from
No,
California.
Yeah.
look, there are
Surfing.
Californians that can do all those things, but again,
And
you're
that's you.
talking about me
You're not one
who
of them.
has no skills in any of those. I've tried surfing, that didn't go well. I've tried skateboarding, that didn't go well. So yeah, but I will do the surfing competition. Maybe body surfing I could do.
In Tahiti.
In Tahiti. That sounds pretty good.
Oh, yes.
All right, so let's go ahead and start with friend of the show, Rachel Krause. So if you could be any Olympic athlete and be one of the best in the world, what sport? It could be one of those new ones, or it can be something that we're all familiar with.
I mean, I love to watch gymnastics, truly. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'll watch anything that's happening in the Olympics. But
Yeah.
I really like the kind of equestrian where they get the horses to dance and
Yeah.
do the different things. I love that. So absolutely.
Yeah, and they
Okay.
also give the horses cute hair
I'm telling you,
and
like
a cute
everybody's got a
outfit,
look.
and then they say dance.
Is
Yeah,
that,
they've
is
got
that
the- I've never watched that
dressage?
one.
Dressage, yes,
Dressage,
that's what it
okay.
is.
Oh, that's
yes.
what it's called?
Absolutely, it's got a specific thing, and
Oh,
like
yeah.
even
I've
Snoop
never
Dogg was
watched
tweeting
that.
about
Yeah.
how great that was during the last
I
Olympics.
guess we should learn
Okay.
the name
What
of it.
about for you, Felicia?
The reason why we want to do this is because a lot of those other ones have time limits on them. And
Yeah.
so when we're talking about gymnastics, we've missed the window. So, but those equestrian
We've all missed the
folk-
window.
No, not the equestrian people. You could be like
Yeah.
one contester, one
Yeah.
person in the contest was like 65 years old.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
mine.
And they were just doing it. And they were dipping it and doing it.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so
I'm
what
telling
do you say then? You're saying equestrian for
Yeah,
yourself?
yeah. Let me see. So hindsight 2020, if I could go back to college,
Yeah.
I would join the track team, not to compete, but just to get in shape and have a nice track booty, and I would just be there. I would be on
Hashtag
the
track booty.
I'd be on the
Okay.
track team. They look so good.
And they have fun outfits too.
Oh
They do.
yes, they look so good and so cute, and I'm
Right.
like, but I don't even need to compete. I just need to train with them.
All
And
right.
fun nails and all sorts of stuff.
Yes.
But couldn't be
Yes.
me because they like compete in like the Speedo like underwear, and I'd be like, couldn't catch me
Couldn't
running
do
in
that?
that.
Okay. How about
Can't catch me
yourself,
running.
Angela?
I am going to be a beach volleyball player.
Beach? Oh,
Yes.
Classic
that is
Angela.
a
That
great
is
one.
Beach
Angela.
volleyball.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Cute outfit.
Like Miss May, we're ready.
Spike
Cool
that
Yeah,
ball.
I did cover the beach volleyball in Greece,
Oh,
and I'm
man.
telling you,
They
that
are-
place was rocking every night. It was so much fun to
And
watch.
boy, are they athletes.
They are
I
great.
mean,
They are
jeez.
great. Yeah. All right.
I
What
was
are
on the volleyball team in 9th grade. I wasn't good.
Were your moves just like mine?
That's the end of the story. I got on the team because I was tall,
Just bumps that.
Right.
and that's the end of that story.
Glenn is saying that's a cool dance. I think referring to you.
Which one?
and-
The
Bring it
break-
back,
your
bring it
break-
back.
break
Yeah.
dancing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
get back
The
to
break
it.
dancing?
And,
you can't see my feet.
Right. Let's see. Not really getting anybody else
Willing to
online
say?
talking about Olympics, but let us know what sport is your favorite. And yes, we will at 11 o'clock look into power outages because I do have Claire saying she's got some power outages. Claire, let us know where you live. We'll look into that because of the rain that's coming through. How much longer will that be happening?
We've got rain between now and 2 a.m. and some of that pockets of heaviest rain are actually rolling through right now. So ground is saturated. We've already picked up ½ inch to nearing an inch and additional rain. between now and 2 a.m. And then maybe a couple thunderstorms to watch tomorrow afternoon, mainly eastern part of the state. And that big drop will go from 50s midday into the 30s by early evening.
Okay.
Ooh, I know. And then maybe a few flurries around on
Checking
Friday.
my
All right.
house.
That's part of January in Indiana, Felicia.
I know. I'm checking the outage map to
Oh,
make
that's right,
sure
because
I'm
you've had a few
good.
power outages.
Yeah.
in
I
your
know.
house.
What are you
Right
hearing?
in that
this
house.
season?
However, I'm
too.
good. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. However, those have been because I mean it was the snow
cold and
and
the
extreme
wind,
temperatures,
yeah.
and then there was a thunderstorm. So I'm hoping it's not going to continue
Well, we
for
don't
me or
have any-
anybody else out
Right.
there.
Yeah,
Right.
we don't have any lightning, and I suppose we could get a brief gusty wind, but for the most part, it's just really heavy rain.
Yeah, Claire, we will look into that tonight and have some answers for you at 11 o'clock. Thanks so much for joining us at 10. We'll see you over in about 45 minutes on 13. Good night.